fact. That was.
No more room in hell. The dead will walk here.
What's up, Horror Fiends? It's your boy Ricky Grimes once again coming at you, Horror Fiend TV. You're watching Three Corners of Horror. I'm here with my two brothers. First, the man with the plan, El Jefe, JR, Jose Lopez Jr. What up, my friend? What's good, son?
Oh man, I wish I was one of these guys just freaking hanging up all cool, but they were upside down in a hellhole. Was this a hellhole or was this a small fire pit?
I like how they were hanging upside down, but the robes weren't going down.
Yeah, no.
What up, yo, the psychologist with the French shirt, bro?
What's up? I know. I something.
Where's Marcel, bro? Where's Marcel?
Yeah, we know where Marcel is. He coming up. Anyway.
What's up, how are you, man?
Yeah, no, actually, I like this was a pretty interesting one for me. I mean, you got me. I love Exorcist movies,
Yeah.
and
I saw
anything.
the subject matter and I thought of you immediately.
Yeah, I was like, anything that's gonna involve exorcism, I'm kind of all in. So, yeah, is it a hellhole or is it a pothole? We'll find out.
Man, I fucking hate potholes, man. Shut the fuck up. We're gonna be discussing tonight the 2022 film streaming exclusively on Netflix. It is called HELLHOLE. This movie is a bit different than what we've been talking about lately. Same themes in a way, but it's not your typical no children are involved, there's no mothers, nothing like that. There's kids in this movie?
Sequence.
Is it? Oh yeah. The Omen homage. Yeah. All right, well, let's go. Joe, the psychologist. When you first saw this movie in the first opening minutes of this film, right? What did you think the direction this film was going to go in, and what were you thinking there?
I mean, obviously.
Let's get the party started.
Yeah, obviously, I thought of one of my other, old classic movies, which was The Omen.
Yep.
I'm like, oh no, are we getting a Polish rehashing of The Omen? So yeah, when you had the beginning with the priest getting ready to not even sacrifice, I guess, kill the baby because the baby's supposed to be something evil, obviously, and then the police show up. I'm like, man, this is all right. So we're going to be watching.
Same thing,
yeah, I was like, we're going to be watching something like The Omen, and it was not The Omen at all.
No.
So yeah. The ending throws you off, to be honest with you, on what you're expecting this movie's going to be.
Yeah, good shout. How about you, GR? What was your initial thoughts when you first popped in this flick?
Well, same thing with Demon. I mean, I kind of hope that they should tweak it up a little bit though when they make films where they're gonna sacrifice a kid. Let the kid be able to crawl. Just add some little climax to it. The fact he's crawling away, and he knows he's gonna get killed. But I mean, that's off subject. But I was a little comedic there. But I thought it was interesting. It threw me off, like to go from an opening sequence like that to right into a monastery, where
Sanatorium.
That's what they
Is
called
it
it.
Really?
That's what they called it. A
Yeah, they called it a
sanatorium.
sanatorium.
All right, so maybe they were crazy. Obviously, we'll talk.
All
about
right,
it.
well, then,
obviously
yeah.
crazy. But
Well, not sanitarium. Sanatorium.
Yeah, no, sanatorium.
Sanatorium. Still crazy.
Yeah. It's like a couple vowels different.
Yeah. No, it was a interesting the way it started, and then it jumps into this whole case of missing people and women, and it's tied to this basically this priesthood, which is it's kind of. I mean, I didn't know where it was going. To be honest, it took me a while to really understand what they were doing with this. Like the fact that one of the characters we'll talk about was a cop.
Slow start.
Yeah. So it took its time but I think the one part where I kind of knew we were into something kind of different was when they're all sitting down eating. He has that bowl with whatever the food was, and he's just looking at it, and everybody's just picking out like it's not, which I guess it's going to lead to our next topic. But yeah, it was a different start. Another slow burn.
I think that's what I liked about it, though. It is a slow burn, but I found it fascinating that all right, we got this cop. We don't know it at the time.
Right.
He's a priest. He's Father Merrick at that time.
Yeah, he's Father Merrick. He goes in there undercover, but we don't quite know that. Obviously, you figure it out even before the reveal. Quite honestly, I know I did, but at the time, I just him in there eating the food and talking to the other monks. and who's the guy, Piotr? What's his name?
Piotr.
Yeah, Piotr.
Talking to him and the prior. So like, it's interesting. Then when they go into that exorcism, you know, and then you find out what was behind it later on. So it keeps freshening it up a bit. And you know, this guy's fucking going crazy, eating this disgusting food. He's retching up goo and flies and shit like that. So you're like, what the fuck is going on here? So yeah, it kept building and building towards something. Even when it was slow, I never quite personally found it boring. My initial thoughts was just like Joe. The Omen immediately. Okay, I hope this is just a homage and they're not redoing the Omen. And yeah, it was definitely intentional. If it wasn't, shame on you, filmmakers. Shame on you. But yeah, I was quite hooked after, I would say, like about 10 minutes into the film, once he established himself into it. I think when they found his cigarettes and they confiscated him, I was like, okay, yeah, this is. I want to see where this goes. Chat me up, bro. What these motherfuckers are up to, man? What were you thinking?
Honestly, I think this is where the movie kind of gives you the turns and all the twists, because you really didn't know what was going on. You know, you knew there was something up with the place. You knew there was something up with them, but the fact that, like you guys were saying, when the exorcism happened, you're like, all right, okay, they're here fighting evil, but you didn't know that the evil was actually the people who were behind the cross, which I thought was a good twist to it, because like you didn't see it coming at all. Like I didn't, honestly.
Me neither.
I wasn't sure what was going on, to be honest.
I thought that was real. I thought it was
yes. I was like, all right, they're doing this, but then you see later on how they're constantly feeding her different things. It's almost like, I don't know, they're purposely making them insane, because there was something where they were doing something to these women in order to, you know, I know what's the, you know, they had to
twist happens, but
yeah, it was a sacrifice for a cause.
What was it? Seven bodies,
seven sinners,
and one innocent.
Seven sinners, one innocent.
One innocent. Yeah. Man. Oh my god. Yeah. This motherfucker Merrick went through. He went through it in this one.
No, and the fact that, you know, I mean, we'll talk about the ending, but the fact that one of the great reveals is the fact where you have this food that they're eating, and when you finally see where the food's coming from, that they have the bodies hanging out, and I mean, they were out in the open, eyeballs missing. I wonder who ate the eyeballs, to be honest.
Well,
because there were quite a few eyeballs missing. I'm like, hey, who got that part? But
we found one eyeball, I think, right, Joe?
Yeah.
Oh, he's good. My bad.
It's okay.
I went to Joe as soon as he hit me.
I know, like trying to cover.
It's all good, bro. I keep looking at that fog DVD behind you, man. It's distracting.
It's gonna be that'll be interchanging now.
Is that Timothy Dalton over there? Who's at the end? Underneath the first movie, to the left. Our left. All right, we're digressing.
All right, so not only that, though, I thought one of the interesting characters was the Pietro priest, because I'm sorry, this was a red flag for me. Every time, I mean, us horror fans, we know when you have a person who's willing to help, there's more about them that they're not letting up, and
don't let them help,
and which is kind of crazy, because for a cop, you kind of let your guard down for this guy where you would, you know, suspect, why are you're helping them, and the times you ask them, why are you helping me? Oh, you know, because, you know, I want to get out too. I'm like, well, fuck it, don't you know this dude got you going? But yeah, I mean, overall, I thought it was pretty interesting, the fact that you really didn't know, you still didn't know what was going on until the end, which I like when movies do that, where they continue to build a storyline and they hit you with the climax at the end.
And it don't go where you expect it to, because we're accustomed to happy endings. Joe, what up, son? What up?
Oh,
one thing I did like about this film, before you continue, when Merrick arrives at the monastery for the first time, he's outside, he's smoking the cigarettes. He looks nervous as fuck. Yo. He looks like, oh man, all right, game face on, game face. Let's go. I like that. For some reason, I don't know, little subtleties like that. I dig, man. What up, Joe? So, what did you feel about these motherfuckers?
So, all right. When we got to the eating part, this is where I thought of this. I thought that they were cannibals. I thought that basically these missing women were the women who they were all feasting upon. And then I later thought that this was instead of a sanitarium for insane priests who had become cannibals.
Leave me.
Because I figured Merrick. So I didn't know Merrick was a cop. What I actually thought he was that the church sent him to prove that these priests aren't actually doing exorcisms. Because when he was brought in because he's supposed to be a specialist on like just like them, like exorcism. So I thought that the church sent him in there, and then when he's investigating, I'm like, all right, so they're all a bunch of fucking crazy cannibals, you know. And then you see the scene with the bodies. I'm like, my fucking call. And there was nobody around me.
You picked up on it, okay?
Yeah, there's nobody around me. I'm like, I said it, cannibals. You know, but then it's not that they were cannibals, because it was actually part of a ritual.
Let me ask you, Joe. They made Merrick eat that meat. Were they eating the women as well?
No,
oh,
just him. It was
just him. Okay.
Yes, yeah. But that's why, because
I found it funny. Merrick's like trying so hard to eat.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Everyone's enjoying it.
Right. Because if you notice that everybody is chowing down, meanwhile his food
good show.
Does smell. Right. So no,
he smelled it too. He was like,
yeah, all along, and he's a cop. He probably recognizes what the smell of burned or cooked flesh is, which is probably was the one that might have thrown him off a little bit.
You think so? He would probably know what a rotted flesh smells like.
Well, no, I mean, if you show up,
who cooks meat?
If you show up to a car crash with bodies that have been burned,
okay,
or to a fire in an apartment building,
you're right.
I can keep listing off.
Yeah, I got you. You know, one thing you just brought up now, and it's crazy because they gave this away right at the very, very beginning when, of course, when the baby at the beginning was about to get sacrificed or murdered, you saw the birthmark.
Yes.
And then when Merrick gets to the monastery, immediately takes his shirt off when he's changing, and you see it. So it's like, okay, he's the baby. So they give it away off the bat.
Yeah. But why though? So I mean, you're not giving an explanation, and then he's got like he doesn't even know who he's supposed to be. So you know, I mean, granted, it turns out that they somehow figured it out.
His suitcase was dope though, man. He hid all that shit underneath the little compartment. I want one of those motherfuckers. But that's at the Comic-Con. Yo, JR, what up, son? Look at your face. All right, guys, let's hit it. Let's get to the climax of this film. Now, we're at the point where, you know, Merrick, obviously, at this point, if you're a horror fan, you may pick up on it. He gets figured out. He gets betrayed by Homeboy, who was trying to get him to, like, you know, hey, man, you know, they're watching you, this and that. I tried to escape many times, look at my back. Nah. Like JR said, that dude, fuck him. He was playing you. He played him. So this guy's strapped up. He's tied up. It was a chair or a bed? What was it? A bed, right?
No, he was tied up to the like the wall.
Yeah,
when they were feeding him, I'm saying when the guy
he wasn't even tied. Was he tied?
Yeah, he must
have been. Yeah, no.
But to me, that was
it was after it was. So I want to say
after he found the bodies, they put the hood over his head and they kept.
Oh yeah, because he dug up because
the
one
prior
that was
came
being
in there.
exercised, they buried that one, and so after he dug her up, then somebody came from behind, put the sack over his head, and then so it was that other creepy cop. I'm not cop. The other creepy monk, and
they're all creepy.
Well, that was the most unsettling part of this movie when they had him strapped and they had him just tied down, just feeding him and feeding him and feeding him. Oh my god!
Well, and then because it's funny because it was four different bowls, so you didn't even once you get more information on the movie, you realize that the 4 different bowls were the other 4 different women.
Yeah.
So I think what they were trying to do was speed up the process.
Run us through the end of the film and what happens with Merrick and the overall conclusion of the film.
Well, so as it turns out that they had this book that basically spoke of this, I guess, demon or god. I mean, honestly, I can't remember what it was, but this book to rise him, like make some so that whatever come out and it take over the world. Which why would, as a priest, you want something to take over the world? You know, it's going to be all gone. There's going to be nothing left. And I'm saying, but there's going to be nothing left for you to live here. Yeah. But it turns out that these were all these steps that they had to do. He had to eat 7 sinners, which is why they were kidnapping the women. I know that there was the innocent.
You have to sacrifice the innocent.
Sacrifice
Drink the
innocent.
blood.
What-
Drink the
was
blood.
it-
Yep.
Drink the blood. Was that it? Or was
Yeah.
there one more?
That's it.
There was
Oh,
one
there-
more, but
One more. What?
there was
Which
one
one?
more.
What's the other one?
You guys, all right. So you want me to jump in on this one?
Yeah, go.
Yeah. No, literally.
All right. All right. So remember,
Hell.
so what happens is he drinks the blood of the innocent, and nothing happens. And they're sitting on, and this is where Pietro looks around and probably goes, "Did we miss something?"
That part was funny.
Yeah,
I won't lie.
yeah,
And
yeah.
he was
That
like,
was-
"Yeah, we did miss something."
That part was
But
funny.
remember, in order for it to come, he had to be sacrificed and killed too. So made you wonder exactly if the first
all right.
priest was trying to do the same thing because he had to be sacrificed in order to be reborn.
Gotcha.
So that's
Which
what
is
happened.
why-
When they stabbed him, they threw him into the well, and then
Yeah.
all right, if you want to,
But no, thank you, because I was trying to remember. I'm like, I could have sworn there was a third one
Yeah.
in there. But yeah, so a levity scene and a slow burn. That scene was actually pretty fucking
It was
funny.
funny. They're like, what the fuck?
They were waiting,
It didn't
like
work.
all right. I mean, and again, I think we have seen that maybe sometimes before in some other movies, but honestly, it worked really, really well in
And
this
the reason why it worked here because there wasn't no comedy up until that point.
at all.
So you
Like,
said it. Levity
did you
is
read it right? He's like,
yeah.
levity is
yes.
a great word to use in this situation because
Yeah.
it did bring levity into a dire film because there was no comedy in this movie whatsoever.
But yeah,
Bleak.
so then you had Pietro, who had basically screwed him over because when he was trying to, before this, he was trying to help him get out.
Ah, fuck that guy.
Man, I knew, first of all, like you guys said, anybody in a horror movie who is so willing to come help you out and divulge a lot of information and is
Huh?
still
A
there
lot of
is a reason you don't trust that person. So, mistake number one. But when they let him downstairs and to basically give him their whole revelation of who he is and the fact that he would become like this demon to devour the world, and he himself didn't believe it, which I actually, another part that I liked in the movie, because when you have someone who is born with a prophecy to fulfill, they somehow do know a little bit of it. So I kind of thought, oh man, because Merrick at one scene, which is like I'm still confused on this, that's why I'll bring it up, is because when it didn't work, and then Merrick, before he got stabbed, Merrick laughed. And I'm like, is he laughing at them because they kind of failed and fucked up?
Yeah, that's how I took it.
Or is he laughing at them because he knew they were going to do this and he knew it was coming up?
No, I don't think he knew.
I
He didn't know.
yeah,
Okay,
he didn't know
that's why I
anything.
wasn't
Yeah.
sure, because again, like we're talking about something that's supposed to be a great evil.
Mhm.
So the fact that this great evil all along was unaware of it actually added a different element to what we all been used to seeing, which we all know that when, even with the bad guy, they're like, oh no, I didn't know. And they're like, oh yeah, no, I knew. I'll let you guys talk about some of the other stuff as it comes out, but the reveal, the only thing I'm going to say on the reveal, and then I let it go really quickly, was I thought of, and this, I'm a DC person. You guys are going to kill me at this one.
Steppenwolf.
Steppenwolf. That's the only thing that will say.
The design?
And it went away really
Yeah.
quick. It went
Yeah.
away really quick. But when I showed him, I'm like, oh no, Steppenwolf. But it's only because of all the shit they've
Now let me ask you a question though: is it Joss Whedon's Steppenwolf or is it Zack Snyder's Steppenwolf?
I think it was Josh Whedon.
That's what it is.
Oh no, that's
Yeah.
a bad one. Ugh.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no, man. Like I said, this was. I love when you guys give me some movies out of nowhere that, like, actually
Yeah.
I'm enjoy.
Bro, literally, this one was. I was just browsing through Netflix board and I saw it. I didn't look up nothing. And fuck it, put it on. And that's why I enjoyed it because I didn't no hype, no expectations, nothing. I just watched.
I didn't know shit about it, honestly.
that's-
Like when I
that's
went to
why-
go watch it that night, up until the point. Well, actually, I did message you because I said it because I think after you had brought it up, and we started putting it on the schedule. All of a sudden, I saw a couple people on Instagram, and I didn't read anything what they were saying, but they were like, "Have you seen this hellhole?" And I'm like, huh.
Really, I've never seen anyone talk about this.
Yeah, no, they did. I saw it on
Really?
IG, so I thought it was pretty
Random.
cool. And it then literally like maybe 2 weeks ago, I messaged you and I said, it's trending on Google News,
You just
which I thought was weird. Unless my phone really is listening to me.
Remember, the reason Pietro killed Pryor because he needed somebody to be the scapegoat. Because Pietro was the one that put everything together. Pryor was just following Pietro's order. Well,
Pretty much.
Pietro was setting up, so he had to kill him.
good shout. Yeah, good shout.
And the thing too is, I don't think it was just any other demon. Just it was the chosen one. So the way I viewed it, this is basically Lucifer's kid, because they said we have to bring him in. The reason we're bringing him because the minute he comes to Earth, we dedicate ourselves to him, so we're going to get riches too. So they already thought they were going to basically put themselves on a pedestal behind the chosen one, and that's the reason they did that. And the thing too is, I agree with the look of it. I wish they would have did it differently. Here's me doing the whole thing again, but if they would have did the slow reveal with him coming out from underneath the altar and transforming into the beast, I think it would have been a more of a shock value. Because when he came on, I'm like, then when I see his look, I was like, oh. And the only thing they remind me of when everybody flipped over, I was like, oh shit, this is the upside down from Stranger Things.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and I didn't even think that at all.
Yeah, because the whole film is trying to depict that heaven and hell.
Yes,
They're both bad. They're both, so there's no they go hand in hand. They need each other. That's
out.
That's why the whole and the thing too, the two, and I love lighting. The two color schemes used in this film were this blue lighting and then the yellow. And the yellow
blue because you know why? It's cold.
Yes, it's cold.
It's that
and
cold
then,
feeling.
And then the only time you actually seen the yellow was one when he was trying to escape, two the lighting in his room, and then the Exorcist.
Nice.
That's the only time you've seen the yellow lighting. So, you know, I'm a big fan of lighting, and this film did a hell of a job with it. But it also set the tone and the mood for the film because majority of the time it's dark. You rarely have any lighting, even when they go outside. It's kind of weird too because they're outside with burning a body, but yet it's dark. But it seems like it's light. It's lit really well, which I'm like, all right, that's kind of different. But yeah, the ending I kind of like how the world flipped upside down. Basically, basically hell came to earth and flipped everything upside down.
That fucking scene.
Yeah, and I wish it would have went just a little longer because it was the climax of the film. But the climax of the film maybe lasted 2 or 3 minutes.
That was that ending was fucking cool. It left me like any other person would be like, nah, I don't like that. Fuck it. It's depressing. Nah, I was like, yes, finally. This is something different. You know what I'm saying? Evil wins.
Embrace your dark side, bro. Embrace your dark side.
JR, let's go, son. Now let's wrap it up. Let's score it with any other notes or any other points you want to hit. Do it now and let's give us your score. Like what you think?
All right, before I get into my score, it's kind of what I appreciate what's happening this year in horror films is one. I mean, not every slow burn works for everybody, but there have been some very good slow burn films come out this year.
And I'm not a fan of those. You know,
very good slow burn international films.
Yeah.
I mean, because Attachment was international.
Yeah,
and Joe liked that one a lot.
I did.
So we have this whole wave of slow burn international films coming out, and they're good because if this was a U.S. film, to be honest, it would have been dumbed down a lot more.
Yeah,
it would have barely been
happy ending.
It would have been probably TV 14. Happy ending.
Hey, you picked one too.
No, but I'm saying, I'm just saying, it's international slow burn films are finally getting appreciation. International films are finally getting appreciation because they are willing to push the envelope to the point where
it's more
creative. Yeah, it freaks you out.
The creativity is the freedom is there for creativity.
Yes,
and they want to have an ending where the whole point of the movie was these cultist fanatics are trying to raise the fucking devil essentially.
Right.
And the movie ends with them raising the fucking devil. You know what I'm saying? So,
and if it was made here, they would have had him try to sacrifice himself somehow.
Yeah, it would have been a happy ending. Yeah.
But for me, like it's a slow burn. It takes a while to build. But once it starts hitting the spots, it's constant good roll one after the other. The fact that Rick hated Pietro just shows you how good the character was played.
Yeah.
And that's if you have a film where you really hate the crap out of a character, that character did this job.
Yeah.
And yeah, overall, I'm gonna give this a 4. I mean, I would say my only nitpick is just the look of the demon. I wish it would have been a little bit more. I don't know. I just wish that whole transformation would have been done the minute he walked out the altar to the minute he got in front. Then they would have freaked out because they'd be like, "Oh shit, I thought we killed this dude."
Yeah, that's a good show. You know what? When you say that, the issue with the demon is he looks more like a comic book character.
He did.
It looked like a cross between Steppenwolf and a xenomorph.
No, yeah, you don't. Yeah. I missed, dude. The best devil ever to me to this day is fucking Darkness from Legend, bro.
Oh, yeah,
that's
for
a
sure.
scary
You will never take Tim Curry's version of the devil. Never, ever.
To this day,
don't even come with it. Trust me.
Bro.
No,
that motherfucker. That dude looks fucking intimidating and fucking scary.
By the way, that is my only favorite Tom Cruise movie. I was so enthralled with the movie. I paid attention to everything that was going on, because the fact it always kept me guessing. And again, guys, ratings are subjective. Sometimes we do our ratings based on personally how we feel some movies make us feel. This movie, I didn't know shit about it, and glad I didn't, because
that's the best.
Enjoyed a movie from beginning to end without knowing no twist, without knowing nothing. Loved the. I'm Catholic, raw Catholic, so I just, we know a lot of knowledge when it comes to the Catholic religion, exorcisms. So, oh my god, this movie as a whole, I'm gonna give it a 4.5.
Yeah, cool shit. My score going in was a 4. That's my score going in. If it wasn't for the ending, it's 3.5 probably for me, because not that it's average overall, because nothing crazy happened to it and during the movie that was like blowing my mind out. I was just entertained, and if I could be entertained, 3.5 out of 5. That's
still pretty good.
Yeah, it's good. It's better than average. That's gonna do it for this video. 3 Corners of Horror. This is your Hellhole 2022 review. Watch it on Netflix. It's not a bad film. We fucking loved it, if you can't tell. Yes, we have problems with it, but who cares? Overall, we were entertained. Come back, be entertained by the 3 Corners of Horror. I'm Ricky Grimes, my boy JR, my brother Joe the psychologist. Come back, stay healthy, stay safe, be good, and most of all, stay scared.